Well, it wasn't really my choice. My parents decided to do this. My dad was actually a political activist. My mom, I guess, was involved in it as well a bit. And there was a lot of turmoil after the Iranian Revolution in 1979, and we left about 8 years after that. So it was just near the end or at the end of the Iran-Iraq war. So the situation wasn't good, and anyone with any kind of opportunity to leave the country would take that opportunity, and so that's what we did. Since my dad was a political activist, it was um, it was a way of trying to uh, go somewhere through the UN. So we escaped to Turkey um, with a bus, and in Turkey we stayed in Turkey for a year, and through UN we got immigrated to Canada. The way it works at the UN is you basically wait around to see where you get designated to, and so it's not really an option. But we were very happy about being placed into Canada. It was one of our, I guess it was one of our first choices. We got to Canada in the middle of that smack winter, right? So it wasn't a very pleasant experience. I mean, we were kids, so we didn't experience much of it. This is mostly based on my parents' experience. What I'm telling you is, um, we when we got to Canada, we were placed into something called a residential house. It's a welcome home, and basically they give you a room, they feed you, they take care of you till you become you establish yourself, you become independent on your own. So we lived there for a while. It was winter. It was in Calgary. It was extremely cold and it was desolate. So wherever you looked, there was not much around. It's not the kind of environment we're used to. So it was very, very tough, especially for my mom, to adapt to the situation. Um, so it wasn't a very pleasant experience at first, but once you adapt, I mean, it's a great country. Well, considering that, I'd say about over a quarter of my life, or actually probably 80% of my life, I've been in Canada, and the further, I mean, the longer that passes, the more I'll be here. I consider it home. I do have cultural ties to Iran, and I always will have that. And but I consider this home. I've left for vacations. I've been to places uh, in the past few summers. I've visited a lot of places, and whenever I came back, it always felt like home. I always felt like I came back home. Well, there's a lot of things, like for instance, food, right? The celebration of New Year's, um, just in general, my perspective on things, my attitude towards things. Uh, Iranians are generally known for being hospitable. I'm kind of hospitable. If you come to my house, I'd take good care of you, right? So it's hard to say, but I'd say in um, all aspects of my day-to-day life, I think that my Iranian culture is still there. Another thing is Iranians are big on education. So, like it'll be rare for you to find an Iranian that hasn't got at least an undergrad degree in something. I think the universities in Iran are about 60 or 70% women. They're moving up in the rankings of like even politics gradually. I mean, there's a lot of suppression in that respect, but women are very educated in Iran. There's a lot of things that I still have here because my parents are here, my brothers are here. I have a lot of Iranian friends, so it's not like I'm in the absence of the culture, but the feeling that I got when I went back to Iran after 20 years was unbelievable. It's hard to explain. It's as if mm, it's hard to put into words. It's as if like I was grown from that soil. That's the kind of feeling I got when I got there. Um, so it's not really something I could put into words. I'm sure like a lot of people feel that way about their background, their heritage. Also, just the family, like the sheer number of family and like the kind of love they show you and what you feel there. It's more of a feeling than something you could explain. The free healthcare is a really good benefit in Canada. It's one of the important things. Um, Education is really good, free public schools. It's also other places too. But the main difference between, I would say, Iran and Canada is the freedom of expression. That's number one thing. As most people might know, is in Iran, people don't generally have that much freedom of expression. So when someone comes here from Iran, at first it's hard for them to adapt because of the lack of culture, the difference in culture. But once they adapt, it's hard for them to go back because even though they love their country, the fact that they can't have the kind of freedom of expression that they can have here is a big motivation to stay. So that would be the number one thing, freedom of expression. I plan to stay Canada. I mean, if I do, it depends where the future will take me, right? It depends on where I can get a job for what I'm studying for, and but whatever I end up, Canada will always be a home. Uh, I'll always come back here. I'll always probably have a home here. Um, but yeah, it really depends where I end up. It depends on where I get a job, where I can get a job. Right? And in my line of profession, it's not really up to you. You gotta go where the jobs are, right?